What if I told you that the thing you want most, to be loved, to be understood, to be seen, is also the very thing you fear the most? You want to be known, but not too deeply. You want to be visible, but only from certain angles. You want to be loved, but only if you're perfect. And so you hide. You become good at disappearing, not physically, but spiritually. But here's the truth, dear soul. You cannot be fully loved if you are only partially seen. So tonight, let's explore the ancient fear of being witnessed and why hiding has always felt safer. From a young age, you were taught, be cute, be quiet, don't be too much. You learn to save yourself like water poured into a glass, taking the form others preferred, not the one that felt true. Each time your authenticity was met with silence, rejection, or ridicule, you tucked it away. Not because you were weak, but because you were wise, because hiding was how you survived. But what saved you once may now be what's suffocating you. In many indigenous cultures, being seen was not about attention. It was sacred. To be seen by the tribe, by the elders, by the spirit world meant you were accountable, visible, alive. But it also meant you had to show up fully, with your strengths and your shadows. There are stories from the tribes of the Amazon, of young ones choosing to enter vision quests. But first, they had to strip away their social masks. They had to be alone in nature, to meet themselves. Only then were they welcomed, not as who they pretended to be, but as who they were. Why does being seen feel dangerous? Because many of us carry the memory of the first time we were seen and it hurt. Maybe it was the moment you cried in class and were laughed at, or when you saw your art and were told it wasn't good enough, or when you opened your heart and were met with coldness. The body remembers, the soul remembers, and so it whispers, never again. But what if that whisper was a lie born from a single one? And what if it's time to meet the one, not with fear, but with light? Mr. Foucault, the philosopher in Power and Control, spoke of a prison design called the Panopticon. A tower sits in the center. Guards can watch every cell, but the prisoners cannot tell when they are being watched. So they begin to watch themselves, to censor, to hide, to perform. Foucault said, visibility is a threat. In modern life, we've built internal panopticons. Even when no one's watching, we judge ourselves, as if the world is always staring. This self-surveillance kills authenticity. To break free, we must learn to be visible on our own terms. Marianne Williamson once wrote, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most frighten us." We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You were born with radiance, and somewhere along the way, you learn to dim it. Because shining made you a target. Because joy made others uncomfortable. Because truth made people leave. But the fear of being seen is often just the fear of your fullness. Not of being judged, but of being so alive, You no longer fit inside the smallness you've known. An old Sufi story tells of a man who carried a flute in his robe for 40 years, but never played it. He was known as the silent musician. When asked why he never let anyone hear his song, he said, "Because if I play and they do not listen, then I will know I'm truly alone." But one day, in the desert, he found himself surrounded by silence. No one was there, only wind and stars. So he played, and the melody was so beautiful that the stars leaned in and the wind stilled. Sometimes you must express your soul not to be heard by others, but to remember that you are listening. To be seen is to be known, and to be known is to risk rejection. But also, to be known is to finally belong. True love, dear soul, doesn't arrive through perfection. It arrives through presence. Through the trembling voice, the honest tears, the flawed attempt. It is not your mask that will be loved, but the face beneath it. And maybe, just maybe, that face is enough. So I ask you now, what if you showed one piece of your truth? What if you shared the part you've kept hidden? What if you wrote the poem, sang the note, told the truth, just once? Not to be approved, not to go viral, but to reclaim your voice. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your presence. You are not here to perform. You are here to be. Dear soul, I know it feels severe to hide. I know how heavy it feels to be seen. But I also know that hiding has cost you your voice, your dreams, your aliveness. So tonight, let this be the moment you come back to yourself. In the comments, tell me, what is one truth you've been afraid to share? Not for validation, but as a doorway for yourself and for someone who is still in the dark. Because when you are seen, you become a mirror. And when you show your soul, you give others permission to do the same. Still fire sees you, even in silence, even in shadows, and we are waiting for your light.